What's going on, people? If you're a Palace fan, I already know what is going on. Upset. And another defeat, unfortunately, this time around is against Chelsea. Red cards, accidental penalties, and more. 11 games without a win as well. But before we do get started, as always, please do hit the like button if you do enjoy the stream, and also subscribe if you're new to the channel. Get involved as well. The link is posted in the comment section, live comment section, where you can click on the pinned link to join us live this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. It could be evening, it could be the morning. But yeah, another defeat for Palace. It just is getting, I think we're reaching that point, especially in that Sellers Park, with a lot of fans leaving early, which I understand to some degree. It's 2-0 down very early in the second half. Boos towards players. I don't think it was heard on TV, but around me in the home zone, there were boos when Mateta came off. It's reaching that level of slowly being toxic, which is never good. And as I've said, you can kind of understand it. People are frustrated. We changed it in the second half. However, it still wasn't good enough. I guess the red card plays a massive part to that. But yeah, Tim, it's just I've just been thinking about where to start with, because I just think there's a lot of things going wrong at this football club. But in terms of today's result and the defeat, what did you make of it? Because in the first half, I don't think we were that bad. I think the difference in the first half was basically we missed our big chance and they scored their big chance. But in the second half, we didn't really create as much, and there was a lot of changes in formation and personnel as well. So yeah.
Just by virtue of the flow of the game, and I was listening to it, virtue of the flow of the game and the numbers at the end of the first half, you would have thought it was either 1-1 or 0-0 going in at halftime, and that Palace had for significant portions the better of the play. But it's the same story, isn't it? Where, I mean, I feel for JD Canvo, but he makes a bad mistake. And Esteval finishes a chance that has been presented to him. Badiashile presented a chance to JP, and he missed that chance. That's the difference in that first half. In the second half, not dissimilar, although I think that Chelsea were on top for significant portions of that second half. But the first half, you would have thought that it was better. But once it's hard to know this for sure, D, but I'll pose the question to you. Once the goal goes in on 34, it sounded like heads dropped a little bit. And if that's true, because that's what it sounded like all of a sudden, ideas just start to run out of ideas. You're running into nowhere. Things aren't quite working. Bleeds into the second half, start real flat. And then, and then Wharton gets sent off, and now you're playing. Or, Glasner makes some changes, and now you're starting to play. It's very weird. It's very strange. I would not say there's positives I would take out of a game like this. This is not a game you take positives out of, but I will say I'm at least glad there was some amount of fight back. But I think I'm with everybody else in that this is serious. Relegation is not off the table. We have to be a hell of a lot better than we've been. I think that there's no question about that. And we still need reinforcements. That bench wasn't good enough. So we've got work to do here. You've got work to do.
Yeah, work is definitely a nice way of putting it. We've got a lot on our plate, because I don't think there's one thing to point at. I do think there's a lot of stuff going wrong today, whether that's if you're talking about the game, the mistakes, from JD Canvo. I don't want to be too harsh on him, but he has got mistakes in him. We have seen it so far this season, but he's also had some decent games as well. So he's just very inconsistent, which is troubling, but he has to go through this phase to learn and grow as a player. However, when your team that's struggling with 11 games, how many opportunities are you going to give him? And he got subbed off in the second half. So that doesn't help our situation. The Wharton red card, I thought was, we can talk about the ref, but I thought it was just silly from Wharton, in all honesty. Maybe should have got subbed off, but You just picked up a yellow card. You just take it a bit more easier. You be a bit more sensible about your approach just to pick up another yellow card in that regards. I just had a feeling anyways, because right before the second yellow card, he had another foul and the referee let him go. And at that point, you have to look at the manager and say, all right, cool. You know what? Maybe take him off the pitch because you don't want to miss him for the Forest game. But Wharton also has to know that, come on, like, take a step back in regards to that. But I just think overall, though, if you're talking about this game, I just think we've become predictable. I don't know if people agree with me, but our patterns of play, our approach to create chances is now teams know how to approach Palace. They know that they're going to be attacking you with the wing backs, and they know our weaknesses, and it's the plan B. It's like, how do we go and change from that? Now, we did change personnel and formation after 10 men, and I don't know if that's going to change going forward. But yeah, 11 games without a win, regardless of what you've done, and you're only 8 points above the relegation zone. You have to look, and you have to make a decision. And I do think Parish needs to make a decision to see if it's going to work. It seems like it will do based on their conversation. But for me, I said it against Sunderland. You just don't come out like that if you're Glasner. And then today, well, not today, before this game, it was more about damage control, about what he said, I'm 100% committed, etc. All the right words. But yeah, I don't know if the damage has been done to that degree where not just Glasner, even Mateta. It's the first time I've heard him get booed off the pitch, and I think that's because of all the media noise around him. Yeah. I just think we're nosediving. We really are nosediving, and something needs to change the trajectory of where we're going towards. Because we were about a month and a half ago, we were 4th. Now we are 15th, 8 points above the relegation zone, whilst not winning a game in 11. And that's including sides like Coops, that's including sides like Macclesfield, and that's including those games with the likes of Wharton and Gahey in those games. So yeah, today was a positive to have Munoz and Sarr there, of course. But of course, like the biggest thing today was, what about the performances of all the other players? It wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't convincing against a poor Chelsea side, in my opinion. And now you're going into the Forest game, and you're going to need a result. That's going to be massive. So yeah, there is a lot of frustration there. All right, let me bring on the guests because there is a lot of people.
Let's do it.
Let's start with Animal. Animal defeat against Chelsea 3-1. I've listed some things, but I'm trying to gather my thoughts because I'm just thinking about the ownership. I'm thinking about the manager. I'm thinking about the players, the game, the penalty. That was an accidental handball, but somehow still a yellow card. And I mean, today there's so much. Where do you want to start?
I probably want to start with what a pain in the bum it was to get Darren England as a referee for this game. You know, when we needed to have some kind of solid game, because I was unimpressed with the stamp on Sarr in the first half by Neto. I thought I don't know why that wasn't reviewed by VAR, because that was ridiculous. And then the decision to get look, I think Canvo, I think that was a penalty. It's the movement of his arm to drag the ball back. It's not his fault, and you know, it's a shame that he was responsible for all 3 goals today, because I don't think he's that bad of a player. But yeah, it's just a shame. But I don't like Darren England. I haven't since he started refereeing, and you know, it's just annoying that we have to have him as well, or you know, on top of everything else, because I think that our season has been completely derailed. And we are going to be up against it now in terms of a relegation battle, in terms of squad harmony, trying to get these boys motivated to play the next games.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy because I don't think there's one thing in particular that's wrong. We spoke about rest, but I don't want to use that as an excuse anymore. They've had a couple of weeks off. Exactly, that's not an excuse. We spoke about training. Well, they are training now. Sarr Munoz is back. They're just excuses are running out, and this is what I mean by accountability. The man in charge, Glasner, in this situation, he needs to find a solution ASAP, because I don't think he's got much time in his hands. I really don't. If we go lose against Forest as well, how many points? I mean, if West Ham go win a game, we're slowly creeping towards the relegation zone, which sounds absolutely wild to even mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are we? 8 points ahead of
West Ham.
I think it's West Ham, isn't it? We're
Yeah.
8 points ahead of Leeds. They play tomorrow, I think, and they're only 3 behind us. They could leapfrog us potentially. I don't know what their goal difference is like. But there are positives to take from today. I thought we looked more balanced in terms
Yeah.
of attack. You know, we had both Munoz and Sarr back, and it gave us that real balance on both sides now, instead of Ty being the only person that's getting up his side. You know, I thought that was positive. I also thought that Chadi Riyad was a positive to see him back on the pitch. It's great to see him get on there, and I really want to see how quickly we can get him up to speed, because I think he might be the answer for us in that back three from here on forward, because he looks a lot more positionally aware. He looks a lot more comfortable on the ball. So yeah, I like that Riyad is back, and I want to see him, hopefully a lot more of him.
Yeah. Do you think he gets more of an opportunity from ahead of Canva now? Do you think Canva has had a few chances? I think it's very harsh. It feels harsh to put him down, but today, of course, couple mistakes, and then you have Riyad also there as an option. Do you think now Riyad may get the nod going ahead?
I think he has to. I think in terms of experience, Riyad is probably miles ahead of Convo.
Yeah.
Like I said today, Convo had a hand in each one of the goals. The first one, obviously the pass back was a terrible decision, the penalty, and then he played Pedro onside as well when Lacroix and Richards were both out of position. He could see the entire line from where he was, Convo, and all he had to do was check his run, not run back with him, and he would have played Pedro offside. It's basic defensive maneuver in there, and so it's a shame that one's not as I'm not as much aggrieved about that one, but he had a hand in all three of them. It's it has to be Riyad moving forward, in my opinion, and Convo needs to build confidence again coming on as a substitution or whatever, maybe for Riyad if he's struggling with match fitness and match time.
Yeah. What about the other end of the pitch? There was a change today, of course. Here, Mapino dropped to the bench. We had Brennan Johnson start on the left, Mateta up front, and Sarr join the right hand side. What did you think of those three as a combination?
I'm starting to come around from Patrick to his ideas around Brennan Johnson, because he's shown us very little about what he can contribute creatively to the team. I think it's a shame that Brennan has had to come into this turbulent atmosphere and environment the way he has. So that's not helping him at all. But him and Pino are two completely different players, whereas Brennan Johnson and Sarr are very similar players. So what we've got around on each wing is, I thought Sarr should have stayed on today. I don't know why Brennan Johnson stayed on, probably because of the £35 million price tag. But Pino is a ball player, and he nearly set up a goal today, after coming on, which was when we actually started playing football in the second half, because when we went 1 man down, we actually started looking like we had a bit of fight in us towards the end of the game, like on 85, 90 minutes or something, which was bizarre. This is just a surreal situation for a Palace fan at the moment.
It is a little bit. It is a little bit weird. It is a little bit weird, isn't it? That I don't know how many he took, but it does seem like Brennan Johnson is not the one you want to be delivering the ball into the box, right? You want him at the back post to try to tap in the ball. So there's still a bit of square pegs and round holes here, isn't there?
Yeah, I think this is something that is working out the kinks of a new player in a new team. It's going to need time, and it's something that Oliver Glasner doesn't have really. His back's up against the wall at the moment. I think that last press conference he did seems to have satiated all of the fans. It hasn't satiated me one bit. I still think Glasner's a liar. I think that Parish is a liar, and I want Glasner out of the club. That's just me. But if everybody wants him till the end of the season and thinks that we can do better with him, then that's fine. But I'm a big believer in momentum and squad harmony. I actually started my back of the nest coming onto the screen when we won the FA Cup, where I made a point about how togetherness was really important and how together we seemed like, in that build up to the FA Cup final. Yeah. And right now we couldn't be more, just distant from each other, manager from the board to the manager, and now it's seeped into the players, and it's just turning toxic very quickly.
Yeah. How do you see the situation panning out then with Glasner and do you reckon he will be at a job come end of the season? Because now he came out saying we had a conversation with Steve Parish, and it was very positive. So he tried to put that under the rug, but of course some people don't believe him, which I understand why. And you have to take his comments not too seriously based on everything that he said since he joined Palace. But do you think that Parish will sack him?
All of this has started from the lie, hasn't it? The lie that of when negotiations for his contract were being sorted out and blah blah blah. They already decided back in October, so that was the first lie. That that should have all been. We should have been informed about it. Transparency would have been the key. If Glasner had said, "Look, this is going to be my last season, guys. Our ambition isn't matched, and this will be it. But we're going to have a great European Cup run. We're going to try for everything," and everybody wouldn't have known exactly where we stood. Instead, what happened was they kept it from us, continued to lie about it, and then when the crap hit the fan, as it were, that's when Glasner decided to take retribution and after the Gay sale, have a poke at Steve Parish and declare that he's leaving. And then a couple of days later or a day later, Mateta says that he wants to leave. I just want to say that the FA Cup win, the European run that we're on right now, it is the culmination of all of the work of every Palace player that has preceded these players here. And this season has been as important to us as our FA Cup win for having a good season in Europe. And every player should have been behind it. No one thinks about the fans and how this has affected us. In my personal opinion, there'll be people that can deal with it and there'll be people that can't. I don't like what I've seen from either Managerial or Parish so far this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. But Animal, great talking to you. Hopefully catch up with you again soon.
Good to see you. Take care.
Oh, we might.
I just want to add something to that quickly, D, as we bring in the next guest here. I would have been for moving on from Glasner if I thought we could have gotten in a replacement who could come in and do the job, because he really did torch the club and he did a lot of damage to us, I thought, by announcing. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt on the weekend when it happened. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought about the damage created when he said, "Look, I'm done at the end of the season," right in the middle of the transfer window. I just feel like, man, you've really done us dirty here. You've screwed us over. And irrespective of the insubordination and whatever with Steve Parish, I'd like to believe that they were able to come to an agreement. That is still extremely damaging, D. And if I thought we could have gotten in a replacement with a team that could come in, hit the ground running, because it's not just if we were to sack Glasner, it's the entire coaching staff except for maybe Patty who goes. We can't have that. So our hands are tied, so it really screws us over. I think he really did us dirty there. And that is, I think we shouldn't undersell that. So I support the idea. He also said, just for the record, that on that same press conference where he said he was going, he said he wanted to set the record straight, that he had a good relationship with the chairman. He said that. And he also said it was nothing about transfers. And then we lose to Sunderland, and then everything is about transfers. So multiple times he's revealed himself to be dishonest there, and that's a real frustration for me. So yeah. It's not a great situation for sure.
Yeah, it isn't. Let's bring on Mason next. Mason,
hey Mason,
3-1 Chelsea. Your thoughts on the game?
Obviously, I was watching before being brought on, Tim, and from what you just said, Palace are giving me trust issues massively.
Yeah.
You don't know who to trust anymore. But with the game today, I wasn't expecting anything else, really. We talk about moments in games of football, and when Jean-Philippe Mateta went one-on-one, and it's, I would say, a comfortable save in the end for Sanchez, you look at that and you're like, well, that's sort of it. And then as soon as Esteval was played in for a brilliant through ball from Canvo, and that's someone I don't want to be too harsh on. I think it was Tim who said it, heads dropped. And I think there was a massive lack of a plan B from Glasner. The thing is, it would be hypocritical of me to say, oh, Glasner's done so much for the club, so I want him to stay. Because if you think about it, Parish has done a lot for the club, but I don't want him at the club either. So I think it would be hypocritical of me to say that I want Glasner to stay, but I want Parish out. I think, do I think they get rid of him one game after they had a massive agreement and everything's all rosy? No. I think he gets the Forest game. Because I think that's a day or two before the transfer window shuts. I think if we don't get in any sort of reinforcement or some good quality signings in the next week, I think Glasner will just say, you know what, I'm done. I'm off. And then, well, you might as well ride off Brighton away because it'll be the first game for the new manager, whoever it may be. But yeah, not a good situation right now.
Can I get you to react to this quickly, Mason? Because I think I'm sorry, not what Jamie said here. What Nicholas said. Not one word over the past week, and nothing in the program notes. That I am not a Parish out guy, but I have to say, like I've said this before, you got to call balls and strikes. What on earth is he waiting for? What is he waiting for to say something reassuring? Now, maybe we can just live with it and decide that actions speak louder than words. And if there are meaningful transfers of this window, maybe we can forgive it. But I'm struggling with this one, Mason. I'm really struggling. Where is he?
Yeah. Look, I've supported Palace for long enough to know the pattern in transfer windows, unfortunately. It seems like we've again followed the pattern of get a player in early, like we did with Brennan Johnson, shut the fans up by doing so, do nothing for 3 weeks, and then panic buy at the last minute, like we've done for the last few windows. And we look to be doing that again when we were promised quite a bit. You know, every pundit, even Glasner, even though he gave the squad the okay, but I don't believe that anymore, has highlighted how thin this squad is. And we've blamed that it's 3 days between games and whatnot. These players are getting the opportunity to train now. We've had Munoz and Sarr back, or maybe only for 1 game, so maybe I am being harsh there, but I'm not seeing any kind of something to get behind. Selhurst Park is dead. It's flat. Nearly every single away fan that comes to the ground is singing "Where's Your Famous Atmosphere?" And even in Europe, it might be a bit better because it's a bigger occasion. But even then, it's not been great. Everything just seems flat right now, and Steve Parish is to blame. But I also think Glasner's to blame. I really do, because yes, he's done so much for us, but there doesn't seem to be any kind of change whatsoever. And I to be fair, because he's done a lot for us, I do want to try and defend him in terms of saying, well, how did we sell Gay and not have a replacement lined up? He's got no option but to play Canvo. It's not like Canvo is competing for a position. He might do now because Riyad's back and came on and didn't do too badly, but he's coming back from a lengthy injury. It's going to take recovery time. So again, these players, they don't really have any backup to compete with. They know they're in that starting 11 next week. There's a mentality issue, there's a depth issue, and there's a manager issue now. And I don't know where our next win is coming from. Even we have Burnley and Wolves at home in February, and I'm not going into those with any sort of confidence right now.
Yeah, we're one of the most, well, not one of, I think we are the most out of form side in the entire Premier League. So, which is surprising. Well, not really surprising with how the situation's unfolded, but scary. It is a bit scary. And yeah, as you said, Forest without Walton. What do you make of the actual performance of the players? Riyad did come on today. I thought that was positive, and it's good to see him back. He was rumored with a potential move away this window. I think that would be ludicrous to do so. I understand the reason why, because he needs to go play regularly. However, with Canvo's form not being in particular as consistent, all right, cool, we can brush this game aside, which a lot of people won't, but you know, he hasn't been consistent. He has had some mistakes so far this season for Palace that have led to goals, so you just can't rely on him fully yet. And also we lost Gay, so I don't think Riyad could leave at all. But what's your situation what's your thoughts on the Riyadh situation and him returning? Do you think he can get more minutes?
I think it's quite simple, to be honest. I think if you sell Riyadh or put him out on loan, I've heard it might be Sheffield United, saw what we did to Rob Holding last season, then he went out to the MLS, I believe. But I think it's a case of, if you sell him, then it looks like we're going to be getting a sort of Gay replacement and Canvo gets dropped. You cannot have, because then you'll have a back three with no backup at all, unless if you mention Lerma, because he can play there. But I think Riyadh needs the opportunity. It's unfortunate that we're out of the FA Cup so early, because I'd have said, that could be the opportunity there. And, Canvo can start in the Premier League and maybe bring Riyadh in the Conference League and the FA Cup, kind of. But now we're out of that. It's like, well, the Conference League is more important now, because I don't think we have much to play for in the Premier League anymore. People will say that, we're only 6 points off of the European places. I can't see us getting 1 point in our next 2 games, let alone 6. So I think they can get that out their heads as well, to be honest. But in terms of giving Riyadh minutes, I think he needs them. I really do. You can't expect a player to come back from a lengthy injury like that and switch on like that. You need to give him the opportunity. And that's my stance on it.
Yeah, and also today there were boos towards Mateta. Do you think that's right, or do you think
is that fair? I want both of you guys to answer this. Is that fair? Because I get the reason, but I don't. Glasner said, and we already talked about Mason. We already talked about trust issues. Valid. We all have trust issues, right? So do we believe Glasner when he says that Mateta didn't put in a transfer request? So are we being harsh on Mateta, or do we just I don't believe it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. He's asked to get out.
I don't. I think personally, I don't believe him. I do think there is some truth behind it because of all the noise. You don't have this much noise if there's no truth behind it. There must be something going on, and we were always planning to sell him in the summer anyway. So it does feel like he's wanted to move away. And I think personally, it's not just that. I think his performances haven't been great. And I think when you add that to the fire of that news, I think people have now, not everyone, there wasn't like the whole stadium booing, but a lot of people were. And then the rest of the game, the only chant really was Uche. That was it. Like that's, I don't know if you lot heard it from
that.
TV, but that was it for the remainder of the game. After Uche came on, there was cheers and that was a chant. But so I do think it's not just one particular reason. I don't think it's just a transfer news. I think it's his performance on top of that as well. But what do you think, Mason?
I think, listen, I heard people in the bar that I was in at half time watch back that chance he had and saying that he deliberately just putting it straight at him, which I think is very harsh. I don't think a player
I don't think he deliberately missed.
Deliberately missed a chance. But
that tells you where the heads are at, though.
Yeah. Well, my head's on Mars, to be honest. But the thing is that, like Dee said, when we're being told what we're being told, which isn't great, and we don't know the truth behind it, I don't trust anybody at this football club anymore. I really don't. And then you look at the performances from him, it just doesn't tie well with me. Does he deserve to be booed off the pitch? I don't think any Palace player deserves to be booed off the pitch unless you've had an absolute stinker or you've gestured to the fans or done something. In terms of performance alone, I don't think a player deserves to be booed off the pitch. I think it is harsh. But the thing is, if we were earlier in the window, I would say, well, we can, sell Mateta and get a replacement in. But don't forget, there's not long left of the window. We've got just over a week, and we're talking about a backup for Mateta if he leaves, a replacement for Gay, especially if we sell Riyadh, a goal-scoring midfielder, especially now how Adam Wharton's not going to play against Nottingham Forest, one of our only creators of chances through the middle, and he's not going to play in that game. Is a lot to be done, and I would say a reinforcement right wing back as well, because again, you're in that same situation if Munoz gets injured again. I just think there's a lot to be done within the space of just over a week. And again, I don't want to go in circles with this, but I just think the way we've managed this transfer window, like a few others that I've seen has been horrendous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
I think that's right. I think you could say I've said this before, D. Like, I'm not for necessarily overspending at Palace, but I think it is objectively true, to the point you just made there, Mason, that over the last 3 windows, the money that we have spent, the return is not there. And we're not a team that can afford to get it wrong. And I think you could argue, I think you could make a really good argument that we've gotten it wrong way too often, especially over these last 3 windows. And that has been really bad. But I just want to highlight what Mary said here. This is one of the concerns I had when Glasner said he hadn't put in a transfer request, and what Bobby, who I trust, Bobby and Matt Woosnam, I trust more than most other Palace writers, that he made a verbal request. That was my worry, is Glasner, saying a literal truth, but not the whole truth. And that, I mean, we can't be, right? We cannot be playing games like that.
It's way too toxic. Now it's come to a point where we don't believe the manager's word. We don't know. The owner's not speaking up. No program notes from the owner. Players are getting booed. Someone needs to steady this ship. There's too much division right now. There is. I'm even looking at the chat, and I respect everyone for their opinions, and everyone has the right to feel like how they do. And I always encourage people, whether you are pro Glasner, against Glasner, pro Parish, against Parish, always encourage people to come on, because this should be a platform where everyone should have their own voice. But the division now is beyond, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. If you can't have the fan base united for one cause, which was, everyone was behind Glasner. I think majority of the people were, like, if I had to put a number, 80% was behind Glasner before the Sunderland game. No one was really saying Glasner out. But now it's like the whole place feels like it's burning.
It's because a lot more has been said and has happened since then. I think I'm not justifying what anyone might have been saying. I can't see the chat because I'm on here, but a lot more's been said. And one criticism that I did have with the timing of his announcement was, how can you entice or be a good advertisement for another player to come into the club knowing that your manager is going to be gone within 5 months?
That's right.
How do you and that's the thing. I'll criticize Parish for the timing of certain signings and money being spent and whatnot, but it's also the actions of the team around him. He can't, there's only so much he can do. He can't get a player of quality that we ask for to come to the club and say, but your manager, who may win you a European trophy, you may be in Europe next season, but you won't have him. It will most likely be someone who's just there to steady the ship again. It's not a great advertisement, because you're not giving that player any kind of certainty, and that's not good for any player. So I think I'm not justifying anything that might have been said in the chat because I can't see it, but
I don't think the chat's in agreement with anything. I think the chat is like, you have every kind of fan in the chat. You have some people saying Glasner out, some people are saying Glasner and Parish out, some people are just saying Parish out. I don't think there is like a unity. That's what I'm saying. This is the first time I've genuinely seen this much of a division. Like,
well, there is a unity. One thing, D, and I think, but we're all expressing it in different ways. We're all hurting. We are all hurting.
Yeah, 100%.
We're all upset. Yeah. We're all confused. We all want the best for this club, and we are all expressing our frustrations and our hurt in different ways. And that can be pretty toxic. But you make a good point, Mason. Like, I mean, we don't really know. And how do you make that? I mean, what is it to be Matt Hobbs right now? How is that job right now? Holy smokes.
Yeah.
You come in, you're on a short-term contract to prove yourself. And while you're trying to prove yourself, the manager has just thrown a depth charge in the middle of your business. I mean, I feel for the guy, but he still has to do the work to get players in. I think you can do it. There are players who are going to come from, let's say, overseas leagues, like from La Liga and from Ligue 1, and they're going to see that they can get a much bigger salary, and they might do it. But you ain't wrong. It's way harder. It's way harder now.
The thing is, but I'm going to just make one more point, because I'm sure other people are waiting, is that I think you just look at the comments that Glasner made last week, saying things like "I don't care," and it makes you think that he doesn't really want to be there. But I've always going to stand on one point that I've made for quite a couple of months now with Glasner, and it's that he's been moaning constantly about the depth in the squad and there's no quality on the bench, and he doesn't said it like that, but in a roundabout sort of way. But I'm like, well, why don't you throw them on the pitch when you need something, and if they don't provide, then you can blame the quality. You don't just leave them sitting on the bench and then just say they're not good enough, because as fans we can't see that. Maybe in training they're not providing and they're the only people you could put on the bench, but you need to give them some kind of you need to give us some kind of defense to back you when you're saying things like that, if that makes sense. I know I'm going on about something that happened last week, but I think the combination of that and the performance today is combined into this toxicity within the fan base. I'm going to say it like that.
Yeah, Mason, great talking to you.
Appreciate it, Mason.
Positive days are ahead of us, because it's getting very, very bleak right now in terms of results. But great talking to you as always.
Good to see you
guys. Bye
bye.
Before we do, go on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead. No, I was just gonna to Mason's point there, and Animal made this point as well. I wonder, and maybe we can give this to the next guest we bring on as well. Do you think that it was that Mason's question was like, you got to roll the dice and you got to bring some players on. You have to at least try. And for the bulk of his tenure, he has been unwilling to do that.
He did do that today, though.
He did do that. Did you feel like he did it today?
Yeah, I feel like he made changes, but to a degree, because once again, he came on very late, which I've mentioned a few times, where it's like, all right, you're not really creating any chance. You need something different up there. Make that change. But he doesn't. There's no way people can convince me that he rates Uche. And to a certain degree, I understand him, because I don't rate him as highly either. But you have to give him more opportunities, especially when Mateta has been struggling. And so to a degree, even though there were subs, red card definitely played a part to it, and he did go to a back as well. I'd need to see it over a longer period of time to make you say, you know what, he's actually changed his way of giving players more opportunities. So that's how I see it. But there's nearly 270 people watching it live.
Let's get the likes. Come on, people.
If you do enjoy the stream, if you do want to vent, if you do want to laugh and cry, whatever, you can also call into the show as well by clicking on the pinned comment. But if you do enjoy, please do hit the like button, as Tim has mentioned. Let's bring on Bollocks next. Chris, 0 games undefeated. Well, depending on how
definitely Bollocks today.
You're right.
100%
Bollocks. Right now, if it was to start from this, next game or whatever game. Yeah, but in reality, we're 11 games without a win, and only Crystal Palace can go 19 games undefeated and now slowly creeping towards 19 games without a win. But here we are as Palace fans. What have you made of the game? Let's start off with that first.
It was almost like you can almost predict it. Like every game this season, start relatively well, have 1 or 2 chances, not take them, or take one but not take the second or third goal. So that's what we tend to do. And then I can't believe their goal came out of absolutely nowhere. I don't know what it is about Chelsea. They never seem to completely outdo us, but they just seem to constantly beat us. Recently, we drawn them a few times, but they never seem to be leagues and leagues above of us, but they just seem to find a way. And we obviously gave them a massive helping hand. I wasn't at the game. I was watching it on telly. So the fans seem to stick with them, which, to my surprise, also Glasner got quite a round of applause from about half of the main stand. That's when it was on the camera before the game. I didn't hear Mateta getting booed when he went off. For some reason, I couldn't hear it. But so I don't think it was that many people. But I feel like it's just we're a bit naive. We're lacking belief in ourselves, lacking maybe a bit more like of a vocal presence on the pitch. Even he was never that vocal, but when you see the way that the players harass the referee compared to ours, when Star got stamped on, it's not exactly what football's about, but you've got to make a show of it. You've got to make a point of it to get VR to review it. You don't just take a quick free kick, because that's it. They can't do anything about it at that point. I don't think it was anything about it anyway. But you get the physio on, you pull your t-shirt up, you show the stud marks, or you know, if one or two of your friends on the team start handbags to sort of get the time to review it. And there's a few moments like that Chelsea knew what to do and how to aggravate us, and we couldn't do it. And it seems like that all season we've been a bit too nice, or things haven't fallen for us, hitting the post too much compared to other teams against us. We're always hitting the post, it's not going in. But wasn't it a massive gulf of difference in the game, even when we had 10 men? I think Sosa, Hughes, and Riyad did okay when they came on. And yes, I agree with most of what Mason said, most of what Animal said. And yeah, we should be using the subs all season. That's what we should have been doing. Yeah, sometimes there's only 1 or 2 goals in the game, but there's a couple of times he could have tried these people out earlier. And also, yeah, again, just the lack of trust, the lack of knowing how it's going to be turned around. Are we going to turn Selhurst into a cauldron when we need to fight these games? Fighting these games like the forthcoming Burnley and Wolves games. Are we going to be motivated to take it seriously? Are we going to be distracted by the Conference League? There's loads and loads of questions. And in terms of what other people were saying before with Glasner, I'm in agreement. He's just a liar. He's looking out for himself. Parish isn't an angel in it all, and nor is Hobbs, whatever else is going on. But to do that in the middle of a transfer window, it's just unnecessary. Rather than put your hands up and say, I've got it wrong, I'm trying to change things, whatever else. Rosenior must look to the game today and go, well, how did I beat them last time? And they're quite lucky in many ways with Strasbourg, again, hitting the bar and open goals with this crap. But he must have gone, what have they changed in the time that 3 months ago since I was in charge of Strasbourg? They play exactly the same way, exactly the same style, pretty much the same playing squad. I don't even have to think very hard or try very hard to work out how to beat these people. And every team's going to do that to us, especially at Selhurst Park. Every team's going to come back, sit back. No, we don't feel that comfortable on the ball. Try and spin us on a counter attack. It's hard to watch. It's even harder for those that are going every week. So fair play to them. They've been to Sunderland, Macclesfield of late and get treated with a bit of almost contempt from the manager in the press conferences.
Well, you said very good points there. In terms of looking ahead now, 11 games without a win, and as I said, the first half performance wasn't bad at all. I just thought they just took their chance and we didn't take our big chance. How do you see this turning? Can you see it turning on the glass now? Is there any positives to say from this game?
Only just a few good subs appearances. I would love to be able so I can see it. I don't know how it happens. I don't know if we have like a first 20 minutes like we had today and we just get 2 goals in that process at City Ground and turn them all against each other. And the same for the Amex. But I don't see how it happens if Mateta just cannot put a chance away. I'm torn between whether it was the right sort of shot to take. And I think it was a pretty good save from Sanchez when Mateta had that chance. I don't know why people think he'd deliberately do that. Maybe he would. Maybe
no, I don't think deliberately he's going to miss a chance. I think that's too far. In all honesty, regardless of what you think about him, I don't think he's going to miss a chance deliberately.
No.
It doesn't benefit no one. It doesn't benefit him. Doesn't benefit the team. Doesn't benefit him like at all. And it doesn't. Yeah, it's why would you miss a chance? I don't agree with that.
No, hopefully he starts scoring intentionally. That'd be nice if you could try that every now and then. But yeah, it's not like he was the only culprit today. A couple of people well below par. Wharton's needed a breather for ages mentally, apart from anything else. He gave one to Pino, to be fair, to let him sit on the bench and try and get his head right. But that's been the case all season. As a previous caller in, or maybe it was Tim said, there's never been any pressure. There's never been any competition. If you have a bad game, doesn't matter. You're playing next week. It is not a problem. And we had a bit more of a full bench this time, but we're still lacking Kamada and Ketia and others. That mean that you know that your place is guaranteed. So yeah, what can you change up in that regard? What can Hobbs do with, what is it, I don't know, 10 days or so to the end of the window now? Not even that long, I don't think. So yeah, it's bleak. It's hard to know how to get motivated and what to do for it. But I don't know if we just focus completely on the Conference League and hope we stay up.
I don't think we can though. I think if you're 8 points above the relegation zone, you can't just entirely focus on the Conference League.
No,
you have to focus on the Premier League as well. If he was in a more comfortable position, then yeah. But 11 games without a win, I don't think we can pick and decide what we want to focus on. We need to focus on getting a win first, because yeah, we haven't got a win.
A question for you two: is would you take the Conference League if the only way he get it is to get relegated? Would you accept it?
I probably, I don't know. So I think people would, but I think it could have big consequences in terms of
that has lasting consequences, man.
Yeah.
And the Conference League does not get you enough, like the Europa League does not, because you can't compete in the. You'll get the Europa League, but you won't be able to compete in the Europa League. You'll get bounced once you're in the championships. I don't think I'd take it.
Oh yeah, that would be funny. Yeah, playing in the Europa League and the Championship.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. It's happened before, and you just get.
It has. I think it was Wigan.
Wigan did it.
When they won the pick up, they were playing it. So I right now, I'll be honest, that scenario doesn't seem likely in terms of. I said it before. I'm not as hopeful now. I think after the Sunderland game of winning the Conference League, I need to see it to believe it. So it could be bad.
We don't look a good cup outfit or a good league outfit at the moment. That's the problem. We don't even. I don't know what G2 see that you can do that can realistically change our fortunes. Would you think the first thing to do is to give Glasner the boot, or do you know do you trust him to have someone decent lined up now? Because I don't. In the same way, the playing staff, we don't have someone set there.
Glasner wouldn't be here. That's my thoughts on it. I don't think they do. Whether that's a good or bad, well, it's not a good thing. Whether people agree or disagree, it'd be interesting. But I don't think we do. I think if we did, Glasner wouldn't be at the football club because Glasner embarrassed Steve Parish. So but it is what it is. Let's see what happens next. But Chris, great talking to you as always.
Good to see you, Chris.
Let's bring on Nosa next. Oh, sorry, Henry.
We'll get to you, Nosa.
Yeah.
How you doing, guys?
Well, we're just I don't know how to describe how we're doing. Surviving.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
Bro. What do you make of the game?
It was a. We started all right. I'm not gonna lie, but overall, it was just a catalogue of mistakes, and unfortunately, Canva was at the end of some of them. But he's young. But when you look at the dynamic of most other teams in the league, they're not starting 19-year-old centre backs in a important game, and unfortunately, we're left into a position starting a 19-year-old centre back who's I don't think has even have more than 50 professional games at senior level. So, of course, I'm not blaming Canvo and singling him out, but like everyone knows, the board is to blame. Like we've spoken about this, and it's a bit of a shame because I never really expected, given like the high we had from the FA Cup, you never really expect the shift in just like the whole Palace community as fans and as players to come to this, and I just think with Glasner being here, it makes the situation a bit worse. But in as much as I like him, the best ever manager we've had, but it's made the situation a bit worse. So
where do we go from here? In terms of going forward, I do think you have to put into context here. We're facing Chelsea. I don't think they were particularly great today. But when you have won 11 games, you have to look at the reality. You can't really say, "Oh, well, it's Chelsea." Or well, we faced Macclesfield. I'll keep repeating that. We face Macclesfield. We can't pick and choose. I know it's a difficult position, but at some point you just have to win. How long do you think this goes on before Steve Parish takes it?
Do you know what it is? I don't know who said it, but when I was just waiting, someone said that whenever we play Chelsea, they don't particularly play any much better than us. We always have big opportunities against them, and this was the concern today, especially because Mateta. How are you a specialist at big chances missing? Like he's number one at big chances missing, along with Haaland. But Haaland he compensates with goals. Mateta, mate, it's disappointing. And you want to go to big Juve, big AC Milan, and you're missing chances like that. That's a glory chance for any number 9 in the world, and even a centre back, any professional footballer, we expect you to score that. And it's happened so many times. It's recurring to the point where when he was on, I said I just knew he wasn't scoring.
I can't lie. When he was on that 1-on-1, I was like,
I want to be
more shocked if he scored it. That's the stage to reach. I'll genuinely get more shocked if he scores some of these 1-on-1s.
Yeah, I wanted to start to take it off him, but obviously, the situation is what it is. But I don't know, D man. it's a relegation rhythm right now, man. It's just like if Chelsea fail to beat West Ham next game and we don't even get a point at Nottingham next week, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough watch for the next like 15, 14 games or however many games there is, because boy, I don't know how we can come back from this unless we get like an interim manager, but I don't know who's available. But in fairness, we none of us knew about Glasgow. If you do say you did, then you're lying. But yeah.
It is hard. It is hard because I do think I don't know exactly who the option is, but I do have the feeling that the manager that we want to go for, or maybe the manager market we're waiting for in the summer because of the World Cup year, and a lot of managers are out of contract or they might be leaving. I think we want a broader picture rather than making a decision right now. I think keeping Glasgow was the easy option, but with Palace at times, it does feel like we go with the easy option, not in terms of just the manager, in terms of when it comes to players as well. There's been numerous of years where we've kept on players who haven't been good enough, but it's the cheaper option. So whatever's easier, that's the way we go. And that's the reason why Glasgow didn't get sacked, because that would make a very difficult position to go see Parish. Like, who do I get in? Whereas if you knew this manager was leaving in October, then you should have your replacements lined up. You should always have replacements lined up anyways if you're playing in the Premier League for how long you are. So you should always have managers lined up there. But my thought is that I don't think the manager that we want is available right now. And I think that's the reason why Glasgow's been at a football club. But I don't know how long you can keep him for if we don't get winners. I just don't know. So it needs to be a decision.
The thing that's more worrying, usually when teams go for a bad spell, there's usually players that they can look up on, and even like if it's a young star or just someone that's got like a beam of light, you know. If you look at Wolves right now, they've got the Mane kid. He's doing like making the crowd just feel alive. When United were going for a tough period, when Van Gaal was there, Rashford is the new beam of light. You know, players like that. When they had Januzaj, players like that can give you a bit of hope. We don't have none of that. We don't have none of that right now. That just can make you a bit excited and just really you know what, we can get through this. Even though it's going to look ugly, we can get through this. And I just don't have no hope. And I don't know about you, Tim or D, but I don't have no hope of us even getting a result, like a draw, for instance. I just can't see it. Scoring a goal that puts us ahead. We can score goals and consolation goals, but scoring a goal that puts us ahead or scoring first. I can't even remember the last time we scored a goal first.
Yeah. It's a really good point, and I can't say who I would single out in the attack, Nosa. I would say though, there is what gives me some hope is there are isolated pockets of players who really care and who are really trying to put in serious performances. The one I would single out today would be Max, who I thought was really putting in a full-blooded effort, and we need that from that guy. He is vocal on the pitch. He is important. I'm surprised he's not the captain, to be honest. But I think your point about in the attack is pretty well taken. I don't know who that is. I would expect that it's going to be Sarr when he gets, you know, like fully back into the flow of the Premier League. But I don't think we know that.
We have no clear players at this team. We just don't. And Palace have always, we've always had a player that could get on the ball and you get excited. You're like, go on, take it.
That's right.
Respectfully, Sarr, he's a good player, but his strengths are to get him behind. He's not that player where he's going to beat a player with a skill. We're just lacking that. We have so many direct players, which I understand why, because of Glasgow's system, but we kind of forgot what benefited Palace, and that was having those players that could come on. Esse was an option, but he's gone out on loan. He's like meant to be that player that can get on the ball. But yeah, we literally don't. And by our recruitment, it doesn't seem that we're going down that direction, which is baffling.
What would you guys think of, because during the time when we signed Brennan Johnson, I wasn't on the pod that much, but what do you guys think of Brennan Johnson as a whole? Because when we were in for him, I didn't like the signing at all. I just think he doesn't suit what we are as Palace, in my opinion. I know he's what Glasgow likes in terms of someone that just can score goals at the back post or getting behind. But I just think his overall play, even when you look at him at Spurs, it was not attractive. It wasn't effective from a sense of just how it can be beneficial for the team. But And
Well, I think it was effective, but you've pointed out something really important. And let me kick this to you here, D. You said something. I think we should not miss what you just said there. Like, we know that he works for Glasner. We know he works in Glasner's system, but he doesn't feel like a Palace player. That is super interesting because I think a lot of us agree with that. Like what D was just saying before, you know, the spirit of Wilfred Zaha, Eberechi Eze, Michael Elise, somebody who goes one-on-one, skins a player, gets into the area. I mean, I still remember the Michael Elise goal at Luton. I like to refer to that one, the fine, I'll do it myself goal. Like he just goes down the right touch line and just does it himself. Like that player is lacking in the squad. So I think like you pointed out that divergence, and I think that's real.
But to
I
be fair,
think we have. Yeah, go on. Sorry, no, sir.
to be fair to him, in the past few years, we have produced players like that in terms of
course, yes,
Raksakiai, Abue, but obviously it just didn't go well. And Esse, obviously, he came in from Millwall, but I don't know. We've had Hudson, and then we had Glasner. And Glasner, I don't know, because I don't think he was in favor of those type of players. I'm not too sure, but Elise and Eze, we hit. That was a massive lottery ticket for us, in my opinion. But
yeah, I was very happy with Brendan Johnson. And the reason why is because I thought at the time, of course, we didn't know about Glasner, whether it's leaving or staying, but of course we had a feeling. But in the short term, anyways, it was like that's what we need because at that point we was creating chances, and it's like we need someone who can get on the back foot and finish them. And you would think that Brendan Johnson, with the amount of finishes he had last season in front of goal, that would suit it. But now we're not even. Well, we'll see with Munoz coming back, but we're not really getting into those positions, and that's what I'm saying. It's like we got into that position once with Mateta, but we haven't really. The chances, that was our main issue, finishing our dinner. We just couldn't do it. But now it's like we can't even cook it up.
And guys, you know what's so surprising? If we've just had one win in those 10 games, we wouldn't even be having these talks of concerns.
No, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Yeah,
that's
true.
How the league is this season. Brentford, they're looking at Champions League talks now.
Yeah.
The next 2-3 games, they're going to be relegation talks. So I'm not too worried, but it's concerning. It's concerning because I don't see West Ham winning another 3-4 games in a row, in my opinion. But that's just how I see it. But
All right, no, so great having you on, bro. Hopefully,
good to see you.
Yeah. All right, take care.
Hey, can I make because I got to get ready to head downtown? Yeah. Can I make a recommendation that you bring on Rich, and then maybe he can stick around for me? Here? Yeah. You upgrade with Rich here.
Yeah, as long as Rich got time, but we're not going to go for long anyways. I'll bring on Rich. But any last words, Tim, before you go?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult, and I agree with a lot of what's been said here. We all are feeling very frustrated. I am not Parrish out. I'm not even really Ollie Glasner out right now because I don't know if we've got the right. I'm not for hitting the ejector button when I don't know who can come in and do the job. But I acknowledge that this is incredibly frustrating. I think Glasner has really hurt us really, really badly. And if
so I'm not gonna force you to change your opinion. I'm just very curious. How comes you're not Glasner out then? If you think he's hurt us really badly, do you think he's hurt us really badly, but not to the degree that you don't want him at a football club?
No, I think he can do enough to stabilize things. I don't really know if he can win us the Conference League, and I'm not sure that we're going to end all that strong. But I right now, I need us to stop the bleeding. I think that's really going to be up to the players to do that. I think if Glasner is around and is able to just navigate that, then we can really go for the right manager in the summer. Though, I will change my mind and I will freely, if that manager is out there that we could get, and we could get them right now in this window with their team, and they're able to come in and start doing something, then I am open to that, because I do think he's really, I think he's caused some real harm here. And I think what we talked about with Mason is right, that he's made it really hard to trust him, and that's a problem. So yeah, if the right team is available, I change my mind, D. I am not certain that is true. So that is less of a statement about Glasner and more a statement about the reality of where we are. That's why I'm.
Yeah, but shouldn't the ownership be better prepared then? Going back to your point about
no question. There's no, you can make a lot of arguments, and you won't be wrong about how I think I really like Steve, but there are some moments, especially over these past 3 windows, where I think you could argue that the ownership and Steve have let themselves and let us down to a degree. I don't think you can argue that. I want things to be done right, and it's very similar. You can say you want, not you, I'm not talking about you, but if you're going to make the argument that Paris should be out, my criteria for Paris being out is, can you show me somebody who cares about South London, who is connected to the football club, who is going to make the requisite investments and be fully committed to Crystal Palace Football Club? If you can show me that person, whether or not they have all the money or not, they can lead a consortium that leads us forward, I'll listen. I'm open to that. I don't know who that person is, and until I know who that person is, I am not ejecting on a chairman that has done so much for the club. But I think it would be objectively insane to say, like, nope, Parrish is the only one, or nope, Glasner is the only one. We're in a tough situation. I think you have to be open to all options, but I'm not willing to just hit the ejector button just cause. That's not me. But I think you have to be open to anything here. You just got to be sober minded about it. And in the meantime, God help us. I mean, really, we need to find something. And I hope, my guess, D, is that it's in Richards, Hughes, Henderson, Lacroix, probably a little bit of Sarr, but those players, like core players who have been here, I mean, we need them. We need them to take this dressing room by the scruff of the neck and get everybody in line. That is because ain't nobody else coming to help. Nobody's coming to help. They got to do it. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my rant, D. Now I got to go rant elsewhere.
All right, then, Tim. All right, then. Take care.
You guys are the best. Take care. Big up, everyone. See ya. See you, Rich.
Yeah. And bring on Rich. Rich, what are you saying, bro? Was that the game?
Yeah, I was. And
yeah,
we're looking over our shoulder, bro. It's not good.
Yeah, it's not looking good. 8 points off West Ham, which sounds crazy to me. I don't know how they're so close to us, but
the Forest could go above us next week if they beat us.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that, but that's wild in itself. But what's going wrong? What's going wrong? If you want to start off with the game first, then you can give it.
Let's start with the game. To be fair, you know what? Up until they scored, I thought we were doing okay. I thought we were doing all right. Mateta's, I'm sick and tired of his 1v1s. I'm sick and tired. It's just too many. It's far too many. And I think literally after that chance, the crowd went flat. And I think the players even thought, well, that was it. That was the chance. Because
same thing.
We're not a team we're not a team that creates ample amount of chances. But the ones that we are creating are good chances, and we're not taking them. And then obviously everything just turned on its head through a mistake. And to be fair to Camvo, he actually, in most of the games he's played, has played okay. The problem is he's got a mistake in him.
Yeah, he does.
And that's what his third major mistake I've seen now. 2 of which have led to goals as well. And after that, we just couldn't get back in the game.
Yeah, we couldn't. Where do we go from here? I want to bring on Henry next as well.
I'll be honest. If if we don't have the replacement in mind, I can see why we're keeping Glasner. But for me personally, he's got to go. It just shows how bad our club is run. That Mark's gone and we'll have no replacement in. By the way, Glasner should be gone from what he's been saying, and we haven't got replacement lined up. I did say I was giving Glasner 2 games, so I am giving him the Forest game, and that's it. You know, because I did see a glimmer of hope today that we can, now that Munoz and Sar's back, we look a lot more balanced and so on and so forth. But if we're not winning games, the manager's got to go.
Yeah, 11 wins, 11 games without a win is crazy. It is crazy. And when you're looking down there now, even more wild. But look, if you go win 2 games and all of a sudden you're looking up the table rather than down, it's been a crazy Premier League season. It has been. So you just don't know what to really expect. But in terms of the transfer business, quickly, Glazer did mention he's hoped for 1 player coming in. Is that enough for you?
No, and it's embarrassing. We needed 4 at the start of the window anyway. You know, we still needed a right wing back. We needed a centre forward, a centre midfielder, and a centre back now that Mark's gone. And we've only brought in Brennan Johnson, who I know he will come good. He just doesn't fit the system. Yeah. And I think he was a signing for the next manager anyway. Okay. And now it's become a problem because number one, as I think Tim mentioned earlier, who will sign for us knowing that Glazer's going? And number 2, can we actually get players for a different manager's system now?
You don't even know who the next manager is going to be.
Yeah.
So exactly.
We've
so
shot
what?
Ourselves in the foot, big time.
Yeah.
So these next 7 days in the window, I think we probably get a loan in and that's it. And that's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. It is. I understand that, bro. But always great talking to you. We'll catch up with you anyways soon. All right, then, take care. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, people, go check out Eagle Eyed Football. If you haven't done so, I'll post the link as well whilst we bring on Henry. Great Palace content coming from them as always. Go check them out. But whilst I'm sorting that out, let me bring on Henry. Henry, another defeat today.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the game? I don't even know what to say, to be honest. It's all a bit. I mean, is your head gone? Because my head's gone as well.
My head's not really gone, to be fair, because I'm just numb to it. In all honesty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's like, to be honest, I don't even know how much I can talk about the game. I just kind of want to talk about. I mean, most of the things we talk about now on this, I feel like is more on behind the scenes than it is on the pitch. But
yeah,
to be honest, I have been in the camp of fully supporting Glasner 100% all the way. Yeah. Today, something clicked in me. And I think what it was, because I don't want to say that the players aren't trying, because I think that would be an unfair thing to say. I don't think it's in their interest to stop trying, even if they have desires to move away, like I'm sure the better ones do. Obviously, Mateta has made it clear that he wants to leave. But what I would say is that it's not like they're not trying, but subconsciously, it reaches a point where they're not trying as hard as they used to. And I think a lot of that is because of what's going on with the manager, what's going on with the club, and the absolute circus that is going on behind the scenes. Because as a player, you know, it's like in any situation. You know, if you go to work, if you do your job, and your boss is constantly coming out and saying all these things, and putting your kind of position is not as stable, and you're feeling that there's uncertainty around the place, you're naturally not going to do as well. I really am worried, and I think it really hurts to say it. Like, it really pains me to say it, and I never thought I'd ever say this, because, you know, Oliver Glasner, I will always have so much respect and time for that man. And I think a lot of the things he says, a lot of the things, he has made mistakes with things he said. I don't think a lot of that is intentional, but I do think it's reached the point now where he might have to go. Like, I mean, but the only problem with that is I don't know who steps in. Like, who is there? Unless you want to put Paddy McCarthy in for the rest of the season, which I don't think is a good idea. Like, but it's just a complete mess, and I'm just so done with the way that Steve Parish runs this club. Like, I really am. Like, I think their relationship is kind of like their relationship and the relationship that the fans have with Parish. They're almost like they're almost kind of identical in a way, because they both have a lot of they don't seem to ever kind of. It's like, I don't know if you ever talk to someone and it's like you both seem to not understand each other, and then you go away and then there's problems, and it's like, well, if you'd have just communicated better in the first place, like, I would be very surprised at this point if Glasner was to stick it to the rest of the season. I think at some point he's going to walk away, or Parish is going to let him go. I think if we lose to Forest, I don't know. I just don't think he gets that Brighton game, to be honest. Or if he does, and if he loses that Brighton game, then I think that would be it. I mean, we've seen him do that in the past against Brighton. When we lose, and the manager's under pressure. That seems to be the tipping point. But I really can't believe it's got to this point. Like, I don't understand how we can be, because, and I know I've heard what you've said as well with when you said it all kind of peaked at the Dynamo Kiev game, which is true. But like, and I knew after that defeat to Everton.
Oh, we lost Henry. I don't know where he went. He might have disconnected by accident. But yeah, he was laying out his heart. I don't know where he ended up going. Let's bring on Nat next. Nat, it's another defeat, this time against Chelsea. Your thoughts on the game and whatever you're thinking towards Palace, to be fair?
Not good. To be honest, I don't think it's from the moment Chelsea scored, there was I could see the heads down. It was no like ambition, any want to really win the game. It was just heads down, and we got the goal that made it look not that bad. But yeah, like, fans started leaving the stands. It was not a good game. The atmosphere at the start, we were trying to believe in ourselves and at the ground, and I felt like this is weird because people are singing louder than we usually do. But as soon as I forgot who scored it, but as soon as the goal goes in, it's like it's just heads down. People start leaving in the second half. Yeah, it was not a good match.
Yeah, do you think that's getting reflected back onto the players, maybe the confidence from the fans as well? You see it. I was a bit surprised, to be fair, how empty it started getting, especially early in the second half. Like, people just started leaving. But yeah, when you're looking at some of the players on the pitch, I think Wharton, for example, we haven't really spoke much about him, but even before today's game, he hasn't been good enough. He just hasn't been. His passes, some basic passes, even before the red card. I think there's a confidence issue now within the squad.
That's what happens, I guess, when your manager says he's going to leave halfway through the season, right? You just you start to think, what's the point? I mean, I was gonna give like Glasner the Conference League. Like, we should at least try and see it out with him. But now I'm just thinking, it's not working. Why not just change it now? The play are probably the same. They're like, they're probably all thinking, where's our move now? Because everyone else is leaving, so they're all probably can't wait to the end of the season so they can go. But yeah, it's that mindset of just like, it's not even because we're just in bad form. It's because I don't know. Maybe it's they see it too with the ambition from the board. They don't see any ambition, and therefore they're like, "Why should I stick around?"
Yeah, you have to control, especially those at the top. They have to control what's going on. It feels like from the outside looking in, anyways, everything just spiraling with. You got players requesting to leave, players already left, managers leaving. Like, you have to have something in place. It's just free for all right now. That's what it feels like following Palace. But you have confidence that, you know, we could stabilize things, and I guess that's without Glasner, based on what you've said.
Yeah.
Even though you're a fan of him, maybe staying.
Yeah, I had when he said it, I thought, why? Well, we should keep him just to kind of see out the Conference League and have that nice finish with him. But it's kind of the 11. I think it's 11 now games without a win. It's kind of brought me back to like, just if we're gonna because we're gonna have to rebuild now, because just do it now. Find a manager. I think you probably should find a manager. You got Nottingham Forest and Brighton. I think if it's still not working out, then just find a manager. You should already be buying players better than we are. Because what even happened to the Moroccan right wing back that was playing for Genk?
Yeah, we given up. I think that's fairly obvious after we brought back Danny Imre. We just gave up on him.
I didn't see a right wing back come on the pitch when Daniel Munoz. That's to manage his minutes, but you brought him back and Danny Imre, and you're not doing anything with him. It feels like he's trying to be honest. It feels like Glasner's trying to lose on purpose, if I'm honest. Because and then you kind of got that thought. I reckon if you're a player, if the manager's not really, he made changes today, unlike whenever it was last time. But if you've got that thought that the manager's not interested and ambitious, and he's going, and you've got that thought that other players are going, why you don't support the team as a player, so why should you be bothered if you can see yourself out? Yeah.
Do you think he will get the sack then before the end of the season?
I think it will be mutual agreement to leave, but basically the sack. I think you've got to start looking for a new manager now, because you're going to have to change it anyway, and it's not looking great as it is. So I would say this as well, if they played well, but I don't think Chelsea even played well. I would say Chelsea, forget about that, but they didn't even really play that well. So it was like we had the chance at a team that was not really playing. We gave them all the João Pedro goal. We kind of had so much time on the ball. To me, like, you can stop. But the other two goals as well we gave at them. So it wasn't even like Chelsea played well. So I would say, start looking for a new manager.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nat, great talking to you. Feel free to call in as well with more future shows.
Thanks.
Take care. That was Nat having this say. We're going to wrap up there, people. Gone on a bit longer than expected, but I'm pretty sure there'll be some kind of news dropping, and we'll be here covering it. We'll be seeing with the player ratings as well. Be curious to hear what others thought of the game. But if you have enjoyed this, drop a like, subscribe, and until next time, up the Palace.